Hi, Timothy Carlson here, and once again, it's movie time. Today we're going to be taking a look at 12 Angry Men, but I'm not talking about the classic film from the 1950s. Today we're taking a look at this. This is the 1997 television version of 12 Angry Men, which has largely been forgotten by history, but is actually a pretty solid adaptation. This was directed by William Friedkin, known for films like Sorcerer, The Exorcist, and The French Connection, featuring an ensemble cast playing the dozen jurors. I'm going to do an unboxing of the release, share my opinion of the movie, and let you know if I recommend this disc or not. Here's the front cover. Got a list of the stars as well as a look at them in the jury box. There's our spine. On the back, you have some screenshots and a description of the film, list of the casting, and the special feature. Inside the case is pretty plain. We just have our disc, and it pretty much looks the same as most Kino Lorber home video disc releases. The cast of the movie is as follows for the jurors: Courtney B. Vance, Ossie Davis, George C. Scott, Armin Mueller-Stahl, Dorian Harewood, James Gandolfini, Tony Danza, Jack Lemmon, Hume Cronin, Michael T. Williamson, Edward James Olmos, and William Peterson. 12 Angry Men, of course, is the third filmed adaptation of this story, following the 1954 teleplay by Reginald Rose and the film version starring Henry Fonda and Lee J. Cobb, which was directed by Sidney Lumet in his first feature film. The film revolves around a murder trial. A young man from a slum has been put on trial for killing his father. If he's found guilty, he'll most likely get the death penalty as a result of the severity of the crime. In the jury room, one man stands as the lone defender of the defendant, who feels that he didn't get a fair shake, and it's up to him to convince his fellow jurors that there may be a reasonable doubt and there may be reasons that he might not be guilty of the crime. The classic film 12 Angry Men is one of my favorite of all time, and it's a great drama, even if it does exaggerate a bit and isn't the most accurate depiction of the legal system. This remake unites an all-star cast. It was originally made for television, but it's, despite that, a surprisingly well-made, faithful remake. There are a few updates that are made to the story, namely the fact that the judge is now a female and 4 of the jurors are African American. According to the filmmakers, they didn't add any female jurors because they didn't want to change the title of the film, and just calling it 12 Angry Jurors wouldn't sound quite as effective. Either way, there's one thing you can't argue with here, and it's the quality of the casting. The man who starts off as the lone defender of the defendant is played by the always entertaining Jack Lemmon, and his primary opposition, juror number 3, is played by George C. Scott, best known for his roles in movies like Dr. Strangelove and Patton. Definitely a great actor. This is also the second time that George C. Scott inherited a Lee J. Cobb role, the first one being Kinderman from the Exorcist series. Everyone puts on a great performance. It's very believable, clocking in at just under 2 hours. The only real complaint I have here is that it doesn't really add anything new to the story. It's a faithful remake, but unfortunately not really anything more than that. That said, I still think it's worth recommending, as the performances from these actors really speak for themselves. Kino Lorber's disc actually looks surprisingly good for what was basically a television film. It's available for viewing in both the 1.33:1 ratio as appeared on old TV sets and the 1.78:1 widescreen ratio enhanced for modern viewing on widescreen television sets. Now, initially, when I went through and watched this, I kind of figured that the 1.78:1 version would actually be cropped from the 1.33:1 version. After having compared a few images from the two, it looks like the 1.33:1 version was actually cropped for the TVs of the era, whereas the widescreen version at 1.78:1 was the original aspect ratio as to how it was filmed. Usually when you have aspect ratios like this, it's just the opposite, with the so-called full screen version being more of the image and the widescreen version being cropped. But after having looked at a few of these comparative screenshots here, that's not the case. Sadly, the only bonus feature here is a trailer. It would have been nice to get some interviews with the cast and crew, because there are some great moments here. Sadly, a lot of these cast and crew members are no longer with us, but they all put on great performances here. Are you a fan of 12 Angry Men, and what do you think is the best filmed version of the story? How do you feel about this 1997 TV remake? Comment down below and let me know what you think. Also, remember to subscribe to my channel for more content because I'm always posting new videos, and make sure you give this one a like if you found it helpful. I'm Taylor T. Carlson. See you next time.